Welcome to Public Health Brief. What really happens when you eat eggs every single day for 30 days? Most people think they already know the answer, but the truth is far more surprising. From your brain to your belly fat, the changes might shock you. Eating eggs every day for 30 days sounds simple on the surface, almost too simple to matter. It's just a breakfast habit, something millions of people do without thinking. Yet when you commit to it consistently, day after day, something interesting begins to happen inside your body. It doesn't happen in a dramatic, overnight transformation like social media often promises. Instead, it unfolds quietly, in layers, through energy levels, digestion, appetite, muscle recovery, and even the way your brain seems to function under daily demands. What makes this experiment fascinating is not that eggs are magical, but that they are one of the most nutrient-dense, accessible foods you can actually test in real life without changing anything else. On the first few days, nothing feels particularly different. You might simply be replacing your usual breakfast with eggs or adding them to your existing meals. 2 eggs in the morning, maybe boiled or fried, or mixed into a simple dish. At this stage, your body is still operating on routine expectations. If you are used to sugary breakfasts or refined carbohydrates, your energy pattern may still reflect that old cycle of quick spikes and sudden drops. But even in these early days, something subtle starts working in your favor. Eggs are rich in protein and healthy fats, which take longer to digest compared to sugary foods. That means your stomach empties more slowly, and your hunger doesn't return as aggressively as it used to. By the end of the first week, many people begin to notice a shift in how their mornings feel. There is a steadier sense of fullness that doesn't crash after a couple of hours. Instead of thinking about food constantly, there is a quiet stability in appetite. This is not because eggs are heavy, but because their protein structure supports slower digestion and more balanced blood sugar response. When your blood sugar is more stable, your energy often follows the same pattern. You may notice fewer mid-morning crashes, fewer cravings for snacks, and a slightly clearer sense of focus during work or study. As the second week begins, the changes often become more noticeable in physical performance and mental clarity. If you are active, even in a basic way like walking, exercising lightly, or working a physically demanding job, your muscles may begin to recover more efficiently. Eggs contain all essential amino acids, which are the building blocks your body uses to repair tissue. This does not mean you suddenly gain muscle overnight, but your recovery process becomes more supported. The soreness that used to linger after activity may begin to fade faster, and you might feel less physically drained at the end of the day. At the same time, your brain starts responding in its own subtle way. Eggs are a source of choline, a nutrient that plays a role in brain function, memory, and neurotransmitter production. You won't suddenly feel like a different person, but you may notice moments of sharper thinking, improved concentration, or reduced mental fatigue. Tasks that normally feel mentally exhausting may become slightly easier to push through. It is not a dramatic transformation, but rather a reduction in friction, like your thoughts are moving with less resistance. By the third week, consistency begins to matter more than novelty. Your body starts to adapt to the regular intake of nutrients. At this point, the benefits are less about surprise and more about stability. Your hunger hormones begin to behave more predictably. You are less likely to experience extreme cravings, especially for sugary or processed foods, because your body is receiving more balanced nutrition earlier in the day. This can indirectly influence your overall diet, even without intentional restriction. When you are satisfied earlier, you are less driven by impulsive eating later. There is also a psychological shift that can occur during this phase. Eating eggs daily becomes a routine anchor. It is a simple habit that signals structure. Even small routines like this can influence broader behavior, such as making more mindful food choices or being more consistent with meals. This is not because eggs have psychological power, but because repetition creates structure, and structure often leads to better decision-making. By the fourth week, the full 30-day period begins to show its most noticeable patterns. Your body is no longer adjusting, it is responding to sustained nutrition. If eggs have replaced a less balanced breakfast, you may observe changes in body composition, not necessarily dramatic weight loss or gain, but a shift in how your body feels and performs. Some people notice a leaner feeling, especially if eggs replaced high sugar or highly processed foods. Others may notice improved satiety, meaning they naturally eat slightly less throughout the day without feeling deprived. One of the most consistent experiences people report during a month of daily egg consumption is improved satiety control. Eggs have a strong ability to keep you full relative to their calorie content. This means your body feels satisfied without needing constant refueling. Over time, this can influence how often you reach for snacks or how large your meals become. It is not about restriction, but about balance. When your body feels nourished, it tends to signal fewer false hunger cues. Another important area affected over 30 days is metabolic response. Because eggs are low in carbohydrates and high in protein and fat, they tend to have minimal impact on blood sugar spikes. This steady metabolic environment can be especially noticeable if your previous diet was heavy in refined carbs or sugary foods. Instead of energy highs and lows, your system begins to feel more level throughout the day. This doesn't mean unlimited energy, but rather fewer extreme fluctuations that drain focus and motivation. Cholesterol is often brought up in conversations about eggs, and over a short 30-day period, most healthy individuals do not experience harmful changes in cholesterol balance from moderate egg consumption. In fact, for many people, dietary cholesterol has less impact on blood cholesterol than once believed, with overall diet quality playing a much larger role. However, individual responses vary, and the broader context of lifestyle matters more than any single food. Sleep patterns can also subtly shift during a month of eating eggs daily, especially if they are consumed earlier in the day. Because eggs help stabilize blood sugar and reduce late-day cravings, some people find they experience fewer nighttime disruptions related to hunger or energy crashes. While eggs are not a sleep aid, stable nutrition throughout the day can indirectly support more consistent rest. By the end of the 30 days, the most important realization is not that eggs are miraculous, but that consistent, simple nutrition can have a measurable impact on how your body feels and functions. The shock is rarely dramatic in a visible sense. Instead, it is the quiet discovery that one small dietary change, repeated consistently, can influence energy stability, hunger control, mental clarity, and even daily habits. What stands out most is not transformation, but balance. Eggs do not overhaul your body, they support it. They provide a dense package of nutrients that your body can use efficiently without overwhelming your system. When eaten daily in moderation as part of a balanced diet, they act less like a trend and more like a steady foundation. After 30 days, many people don't stop eating eggs. Not because they feel forced to continue, but because they notice how easily they fit into a routine that feels stable and reliable. And in a world where diets often swing between extremes, that kind of simplicity is often the most sustainable result of all. In conclusion, daily consumption of the topic discussed can bring noticeable changes to the body over time, but the results depend on consistency, overall diet, and individual health conditions. What matters most is balance. No single food or habit works as a miracle on its own, but small daily choices can lead to meaningful long-term benefits. The recommendation is to practice moderation and listen to your body. Include healthy habits alongside it, maintain variety in your diet, and avoid overconsumption. If you have any underlying health conditions, it's always wise to consult a health professional before making major dietary changes. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Drop a comment below and tell us your thoughts or suggestions for the next video. Your support really helps the channel grow.